Alright, so something happened to this file. I'm just saying that as a disclaimer. For whatever reason, the audio isn't available. It'll just be for this part. I'm voicing over so everyone knows. It's a little laggy. Um, I think that gets a little better later on, but for whatever reason, only this part is very, very bad. I wish I could find the audio track for it, at least. Or if I could just go back and redo this, but unfortunately, I hadn't realized that this was so messed up. Or I would have stopped playing and stopped recording. But I guess we're just gonna make the most of it. So first off, we're gonna go do the Chariot boss to get the Blood Covenant available. These guys can be tough, especially as a new player. What I always do is either backstab them or parry them, for the most part. If they're holding these things, these crescent staff looking things, then you can parry them. If they're doing the whips, then you can't, so just get behind them and backstab them. And on New Game, they have certain ranges where they'll aggro, where you'll only aggro one of them. On New Game Plus, that isn't true. You're going to have to pretty much shoot them with a bow or something to only get one of them coming at you at a time. Just to kind of voice over, I think right now what I'm trying to do is I sort of noticed in game that the recording is pretty bad, so I'm trying to like resolve that while I'm doing this, but who knows. Yeah. Okay, this is arguably one of the most difficult red phantoms you have to deal with in the game, just because it's a great sword. He's got a bunch of poise, and his tracking in particular is very good, as you'll see if he ever does a jump attack. Cause, oh god, yep, you have to roll super late for the jump attack, or he's gonna hit you. And it's very, very easy to get caught up in the moment and just roll far too early, in which case he's definitely gonna do some damage to you. Okay, so let's try that again. I'm missing a lot of frames in this recording. I'm just gonna apologize again for this part, because this part is definitely not something that I want. I don't even want to put this on YouTube, but I can't just leave a chunk of the game not done. Not shown, I should say. Especially because going up to the Chariot boss, I know there's a lot of new players that find this to be difficult, so I want to show that it can be quite simple once you get their attack patterns down and everything. But man, this is horrible quality. Alright, take two of this guy. Most Red Phantom NPCs will attack 3 times and then they'll stop attacking. So, just for future reference, if you're dodging or whatever, if you dodge 3 times, then you're golden. They're gonna have to wait for another swing, most likely. And I can't believe that happened. So, if you remember, I think in the first part, what'll likely be the first part, I said that I'm gonna be missing jumps due to the frames and everything because I'm recording, and sure enough, especially with this one, like you can see how many frames I'm missing while I'm playing the game, and hit jump and the guy didn't jump, not in time anyway. Thank God I made that jump. Alright, let's do the chariot. So what I did there is I rolled through the sickle thing to that are on both sides of the chariot, which I'm going to be doing quite often, and I always do for this fight, just to keep moving. If you didn't know that you could do that, now you do. And I definitely makes the fight easier. There is an alternative way to do this fight, which is I don't even think you have to kill any of these skeletons either. You just sit, you enter the boss fight, and you take out a bow, or if you can use spells, then get your spells ready, and you just blast the chariot. Whenever it comes around, you hit it with your bow or a spell or whatever, and eventually, I think it's at like when he has like 1/5 of his health left or something like that. He'll be moving too slow because you've put him in a weakened state to make the jump. So he'll actually hang on to the ledge over there, and he won't be able to attack you or anything. He'll just be hanging there, and all you have to do is run up to him and hit him once, and then he'll drop to his death. But since I'm not really using my bow too much, I don't even think I have enough arrows to do it. So, gonna kill him the old-fashioned way. Using the rotten resin here, largely just because I believe I can poison him. You can poison, I don't know if you can poison every boss, but you can poison bosses. So, especially for fights where, yep, there he is, he's poisoned. For fights where, healing is possible, but it's sort of something you do, like you sort of run away from the boss to a point where he's not going to be able to hit you, and then you can heal. Those are typically the bosses that I make use of the rotten pine resin with. And that charge attack is extremely hard to dodge, but he's far too hurt for the damage he's doing to really have a significant impact to this run. Okay, now over here, there's just 2 cracked red eye orbs. So, if you're going to be invading people, might as well pick them up. At some point, you'll be able to buy them from this guy, who's the Blood Covenant leader. But they're 10,000 souls each, which is silly. That's all I can say about that. Both for this covenant and the blue covenant, if you're buying the orbs, they're 10,000 souls each. And half the time, the people that you kill, you're only getting like 3 to 5,000 souls for killing them. If you're getting any souls at all. So, I don't agree with that design decision at all. Because it's the PvP doesn't even pay for itself. You have, and with soul memory in place, you can't be grinding out souls to get those, or you're gonna go into a new bracket in PvP, and you'll probably be up against people that are a higher level than you if you were making a build and intending to stay at the what people are calling the PvP build range, which is pretty much soul levels 130 to 150. You can look up the soul brackets yourself and see what the what the deal is with it, where your soul memory is, and all of that, where the brackets lie with the soul memory. But I really wish it's an idea that sounds good on paper, but it does not work with the game, and I really wish that they didn't do it, because it just messes up everything as far as PvP is concerned. Okay, with Chariot Boss out of the way, I'm gonna go ahead and... Normally I wouldn't even bother going through this zone and getting all the items, but I figure I'll just go ahead and show it. This is, again, there are more moths that are just chilling on, like, the trees and everything, putting poison clouds down. If you have anything ranged, then you can just kill them with that. Otherwise, you can just use throwing knives and get them. And since throwing knives do a ton of damage to things that don't have any armor, it's pretty much a one-shot. Yeah, it's a one-shot. They drop poison moss. It's pretty much guaranteed, which is nice. And yeah, so even if you can't use a bow or anything like that, it's really not a big deal for this section of the game. Just, you know, you get throwing knives, you pick them up, and certain enemies will drop a couple of them, so it's almost guaranteed you'll have a few, and you can just use those. Okay, so pulled that lever to get this bridge down, and in this little hut thing, there's another bonfire and an NPC named Creighton. It's actually locked at the moment, so we're gonna go get the key, unlock it, and talk to Creighton, get that bonfire. Just in case we die. Okay, and the key is right here. And now we're gonna go ahead and go across this little bridge here, which will lead us back to that, the bonfire we couldn't get. Now, there are skeletons in this area that function the same way the skeletons do in the Executioner fight, meaning they can be resurrected from the necromancers that are in the boss fight. So, I always just rush the necromancer and try to kill him as quickly as I can, and then I'll get rid of the rest of the skeletons. Those jars will make an appearance later on. What they do is they curse you if you stand near them. So you can attack them to get rid of them. You can just roll through them. You can also use a bow, and as long as you're using an arrow that's like an iron arrow, then you'll be able to destroy them with that. I know for a fact that I couldn't destroy them with poison arrows, so I'm assuming the other arrows like fire and dark would be the same way, but I don't know. I don't know that for sure. Alright, and I did not rest at the bonfire just because I didn't want all these guys to get back up. So now, since I went straight, we're going to go left and go up here. There's a bug up here, a Titanite bug, you can see it, but I've found the best way to deal with it is using a bow, and my bow is not upgraded to the point where I could one-shot it, so I'm not even going to bother. And off this cliff there's a little section that you can land on that has an item on it. I always forget where it is. Alright, here it is. It's over here. Try not to fall to my death. There we go. Okay, there we go. Sometimes that guy won't jump down there, and you'll have to deal with him later, which is annoying because this dark spirit will always invade. So you gotta go kill her. Not really a big deal. Just like any other dark spirit, backstab is your friend. And then just blast her down. Now this is up these steps is the boss fog. But I'm gonna go ahead and open the shortcut over here, which means there's another necromancer I have to kill, as well as a few more skeletons. I'm gonna go ahead and aggro them right here, just so I don't need to deal with fighting all of them at the same time. I can fight them in a little corridor. And just to continue to show how much damage throwing knives can do against things that don't really have armor, I'm gonna kill the necromancer with the throwing knives. Okay, and I believe there's a pyromancy spell right here. Yeah. Now we're gonna go ahead and open the shortcut to the bonfire, so we don't have to go that way at all. We can just run through these caves and kill the skeletons and stuff to get back to the boss fog if we die or whatever. Don't think I'll be needing the throwing knives anymore, so I'm gonna just unequip them. And now we run to the boss. So this boss is the Skeleton Lords, and the way they work is you kill one of them, and then a bunch of skeleton NPCs will show up that you gotta kill. In most cases I wouldn't even bother putting a resin on, but you know, I have plenty right now. Plus we're getting closer to the merchant for the aromatic resins, so at this point I don't really care too much about conserving them. As you can see, it's really easy to do what I did the first time I did this boss, which is just run in and kill all three of the skeleton things, and then I had to deal with about I don't know, is it like 10 or so of the skeleton guys that spawn after you kill the lords. And because I'd killed them all, there was like 10 or 11 down instead of the 4 or whatever that will come per lord. So I always leave the guy with the bone staff for last. The reason for that is after you kill him, the bone wheel skeletons show up. So anyone familiar with Dark Souls 1 knows about the bone skeletons. Bone wheel skeletons. They can be quite annoying. But regardless, we'll just do it like this. Alright, so with those guys out of the way, it's just this one left. You can see how, if you've never done this fight before, it's very easy to just run in and blast all of the skeleton lords down without understanding what's going on with the mechanics. But if you just take your time, the fight becomes an absolute joke. Alright, and now we're on our way to the Harvest Valley, which is pretty much the main poison area. So there was Black Gulch, which is sort of a poison area, but you don't have to deal with it. This one is a poison area that you do have to deal with. Okay, and up here is a stone vendor. Right now she really only has Titanite shards and I think some bonfire ascetics or something like that. But as you go through the game, she gets different things available for sale. So just exhaust her dialogue and she'll show up at Majula, which is convenient. Okay. It's a nice BroStream notification. Alright. So you don't have to get all these items by any means, but I know that one of them is a Titanite chunk, which we're going to use to obviously keep upgrading the mace. Unfortunately, I don't remember which one has the Titanite chunk. So I just go around and get all of them. As you can see by the amount of poison moss I have, just more than prepared for this area. It's really not an issue for me to sit in the poison and keep getting poisoned. Those guys, if they hit you with that attack, then it's gonna do just a truckload of damage. It'll either one-shot you where you're gonna have very low health. So it's always wise to just bait their attack out and just dodge. Here we see this is the second spot for Gavlon. He shows up again, and at the next location he shows up at, he actually stays there. So you'll be able to permanently sell items to him, and right now he has a limited supply of his poison arrows and everything, but once he becomes that vendor at the permanent location, then he'll have an unlimited supply of poison arrows and the other things. I do recommend buying those poison arrows. We will be making use of them later on in the game. Okay, and another notification. My friend wanted me to start playing Civilization, so I actually stopped recording once I hit this bonfire and I switched over to Civilization. And once again, I just want to apologize for the quality of this part. I really had no idea it was this bad until I went through it just now.